So I am with Cador here, and we just finished up the set, and I gotta say, it was quite spooky. What made you have all that energy and just that evil spirit tonight?
Well, I've always kind of had the philosophy that when performing, you should just really give it your all, and if you're not just totally worn out and completely exhausted afterwards, you didn't go hard enough, you know? Yeah, and just like, I don't know, I guess I've just traditionally made darker oriented kind of music, stuff that's more abrasive or experimental or, yeah, I don't know, I have so many different influences coming together that it just kind of becomes whatever it becomes, I guess.
So what type of like music influences what you create?
Yeah, I mean, I'd consider like the stuff I do as Cador to be like an amalgamation of various kinds of electronic music and hip-hop and punk and metal and emo, all just kind of coming together in this blender. I just listen to a lot of different types of genres, and those are all ones that influence me in one way or another, and I usually just try and recreate some version of what I hear and, yeah, put it all together.
I see. So is there like when you kind of like have like that process where you're combining everything, what are like the main challenges that you've noticed with your music, or would you say everything kind of like naturally flows together pretty well?
I don't know. I don't necessarily like think too hard about what it's going to sound like ultimately going into it usually. I mean, sometimes I have a specific idea, but yeah, I'll just need some kind of particular inspiration for a track. And I think I try and like never really repeat myself in exactly the same way. Like maybe I'll approach one thing in a similar style that's something I've already made, but like I have to switch it up in some way, add something else to make it its own thing. I can never make an album that's just like the same type of sound over and over. That just doesn't really work for me. So I don't know. Lately, I haven't done too much with Cador specifically. I've been focusing more on my noise stuff, mostly just making harsh noise and stuff like that, which is really fun because you just get to kind of improvise and you know, it's like just make sounds, right, and just sort of see whatever happens. And sometimes from that, I can use that as like source material for the Cador track, restructuring it, cutting it up, making like beats out of it. But yeah, I don't know. My idea for my next album is I want it to be more all like analog kind of stuff, like using real effect pedals, keyboards, that kind of thing. Just really I just work with like in the DAW, I guess.
So this next album that you're planning on releasing is going to be completely without using like digital audio workstation software or anything like that?
I mean, not completely, because I use that to edit it and mix and master at the end, but like the sound, like the source sounds, I want to be all like sourced from analog for the most part. And then, yeah, then I can kind of mix everything together in the DAW.
That's wonderful. It sounds really powerful. So have you experimented with that, with like making noise music in general, or is that more something that's just kind of
yeah, no, I've been making noise, like, I started making noise probably like a year after I started making just more normal music, I guess, which is back in high school when I was like 14, 15. That's just always been something that's really interested me. And you know, aside from just like the pure noise stuff I do, I like incorporating elements of noise and other experimental kind of music in more of like a pop context, you know, so I'll have this like accessible singing stuff, then it'll be alongside this like heavy, intense, screamy stuff, and I just like that kind of contrast and dynamics, I guess.
I really like it because, like, from what I've heard and everything like that, I feel like you had like a lot of interesting views coming, like at least like mindsets when you're creating your music. Because like I could hear so much influence from like even like liturgical music to like just like I would say like a lot of music that like has like a lot of like just I want to say like I don't know how to describe it. It just feels very natural and I really appreciate the energy and the presence. And what are some of those feelings that we're going to expect with the next album?
Yeah, well, I guess with the next album, my original plan was, or like my goal was to finish up at the end of the year, but I've got so many other projects that have come up, I have to postpone it. But yeah, I want to go in more of like a ambient pop direction, kind of like fusing my noise stuff with my more singing, like pop-oriented stuff. So it's kind of like sort of abstract, lo-fi, soundscapey stuff, but with singing and with some degree of like beauty with it, I guess. That's my goal. I don't know what it's gonna ultimately. I'm sure the album will be completely all over the place and you know end up sounding nothing like I anticipated. But that's my idea.
But either way, it's still a wonderful piece of art that's going to be created, and I can't wait for hearing this. And I appreciate everything that you've been able to give us tonight and also this interview tonight. So is there anything else you want to say to the audience or any final comments?
I'd say just be yourself. Don't worry about what other people think of your music or your art. Just express your inner nature, raw and unrefined, and just get it all out there, you know. And as long as you're true to yourself, people will notice and pay attention and appreciate you for what you're doing.
Well, thank you very much.